Hello everyone, I hope you guys are having a good day. It's March 15th, and today I'm back. Andrew's here with me.
Yes, hello.
We're going to be discussing Wednesday, or actually severe weather for today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And also Thursday, we have a multi-day severe weather event. With this, we're going to have the chance of tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds, pretty much all modes. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So right now, we're looking at the Storm Prediction Center. This is the day one outlook, which just came out a few minutes ago. We have a marginal risk in areas of Missouri for like St. Louis, and then we have another secondary marginal risk on the cold front in Mississippi and Alabama. And so yeah, pretty standard day. Not a ton of severe weather going on today. We did have it was a pretty active day in eastern Kansas around Kansas City and Missouri, and it's still active in central Mississippi. We had a supercell, and we still do have a severe warning supercell. It's to the east of Jackson, Mississippi. Um, And we do have two or double 2% risks for tornadoes. We have one in the Missouri marginal and we have one in the southern marginal risk. And 5% wind on both of these and 5% hail also. So yeah, and then tomorrow is looking like tomorrow's looking like a bigger deal than today. This is for Tuesday, March 16th, sorry. We have two slight risks, one right here in southern Kansas into northern Oklahoma, a little bit of northeastern Texas panhandle in that. We have another one in central Texas right here. And this marginal risk goes all the way from southwestern Kansas into almost the coast of Georgia. So, pretty big marginal. We have a 2% tornado risk, 5% wind, and a 15% wind in the slight risks, and then pretty much the same thing with hail. Now, Wednesday is looking like the day that's going to be most interesting. Wednesday could be a severe weather outbreak. Some people are even calling it a potential tornado outbreak. Uh, and it's going to be what we're going to be discussing in today's video. We have an enhanced risk in southeastern Missouri that extends all the way into the Florida Panhandle and around the Alabama Georgia line. You have a slight risk that goes from northeastern Oklahoma into around the Atlanta area. And then the marginal goes all the way from western Kansas, kind of above that low. Or not western Kansas, central Kansas, I'm sorry. It goes kind of above that low. We could have a little bit of moisture wrapping around with a little bit of surface instability. Could break off some storms in an area, kind of similar to what we had today and yesterday, potentially. It's going to be a little different. And then that marginal goes all the way almost to the Georgia-South Carolina line right there. So, pretty interesting next couple of days. Also, we do have a 15% risk for day 4. It's day 4. This is Thursday, March 18th, so later this week. We have 15% for much of Georgia, almost all of South Carolina, much of central and eastern North Carolina, and southern Virginia. So pretty big 15%. We have no day 5 through 8 outlooks. Looks like severe weather will get a little bit more calm after day 4. That for a little bit. And we're going to be looking at when we could have the next chance for severe weather, kind of at the end of the video. So, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start off by looking at dew points on the NAM model. In tomorrow's video, we're going to use a blend of the NAM3, and the HRRR. But we don't really have all those models yet. HRRR barely goes out far enough, so we're not.
The 0Z run is loading though,
The 00Z is loading, all right.
but it's not going to be loaded at the end by the end. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it won't really go far enough right now, so we're gonna look at it in tomorrow's video. But if we're gonna look at the NAM, I think the NAM's gonna do a good job showing us what could happen. So we can see Wednesday. We have our surface low right here setting up in kind of southern Kansas and northern Oklahoma. Very warm and moist air stretching all the way up above that low. And large warm sector, warm front kind of setting up like this. Our other low is off the coast right here. You can see it right there as our previous one. And or actually, yeah, that was our previous run, or our previous low. And so yeah, Wednesday afternoon we have our low kind of in the southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma area. A little bit of moisture on top of that could bring maybe a marginal chance of some severe thunderstorms in that area. We don't have a lot of moisture. It's going to be a pretty small sector in which we could actually see some severe weather, but the chance of that is there. But we can see we have our cold front right here, very strong cold front with this. Actually, kind of like it's kind of going to work as a dry line We don't normally see a cold front this strong in Dixie. Um, so yeah, and dew is even scraping 70 in some of the southern locations. So pretty significant, or we have a lot of moisture with this. We can go out further. We can see Thursday we have a lot also in the Carolinas in South Georgia. Dews in the 60s. As that low moves further to the east, we see that risk continue. So, pretty interesting next couple of days. Let's continue to look at this. Let's go to severe weather. And we're going to go to, or actually, first off, let's look at mixed layer Cape. And we can see that Tuesday, we do have a lot of it stretching into Oklahoma, southern Kansas, almost 2,000 in some areas. That's pretty good for ML Cape this time of year. And then by Wednesday, we have almost 1,000, even scraping 2,000 in some areas of the deep south, like maybe Missouri, southern Missouri, what eastern, or most of Arkansas will have that chance of getting a lot of instability. And then Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, especially western Tennessee, and then Alabama, and then a little bit of instability in the southeast. Look at this storm system has trended a little slower in the past couple of days. And so we can see we have our low kind of, it looks like it's right here because we have Cape kind of going, or instability going around that low. We can see we have around 1,000 Cape in areas of Georgia, even almost 1,000 up in northeastern Kentucky. So pretty big area. And then later in the day where we have our 15%, with around 1,000 Cape in areas of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. So not a whole lot of instability, but it's enough. It's marginal instability, but it's enough to support severe weather for sure. And so let's actually zoom in the south here. And let's take some soundings for Tuesday real quick, just to see what type of storms we could have. We're going to use, actually, let's go to dews real quick and take some soundings, because with dews we can see where we have our fronts and everything, so it's a little bit more easy to find out where the best spot, and you can take a sounding to kind of confirm or find out where. This is kind of what I do making outlooks. What you want to do is
I do that too.
you just want to take soundings and take a lot of them. You want to figure out where the best spot is looking, and you kind of want to draw your convective outlooks where that area is. It's kind of simple, but not really though. I might do a video on that actually one day, maybe later in the spring, like April or May. We can see this is Tuesday evening, where we have our two slight risks. We have one right here next to the low, and we have one in Texas, probably because we have like a dry line in place of a lot of instability. Let's take a sounding down there in front of the front. This is actually not a terrible sounding. Now, some parts of this are not looking good. For example, it has a very rough look to it. We have some kind of weird inversions that I don't exactly like. Shear is kind of low, but this could support maybe some weak maybe some
Weak spin up,
yeah, weak
isolated
spin-ups.
damaging winds, isolated large hail. Wouldn't be surprised to see a slight risk with tomorrow.
We do have a slight risk in this area.
No, like further east across like the south.
Oh yeah, across the south. Well, we're gonna go over there for Tuesday and Wednesday also. Take a sounding up here where we have our marginal risk in between this kind of in northern Texas. This sounding is actually a little bit better for tornadoes. At least in my opinion, it is much better. We have decent Cape with this. We have steeper surface lapse rates. We don't have that messy look to the SQTs. And we have winds mainly veering with height, which is what we want to see. We have a little bit of backing at around 6 to 7 kilometers up. Not a whole lot though. And the Hodo is a little bit enlarged actually, so not a terrible sounding. And it's actually a little bit of a better sounding. We'll have to see if the two slights get connected in this area. Take a sounding up in Kansas where we have that other slight.
I think those are going to get connected, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they are too. Take some soundings in northern Oklahoma where we have more moisture, and we can see we have pretty decent dews around 60, not perfect. Now I don't like to see this though. that inversion right there, that's gonna limit your severe weather a lot. We have 321 or negative 321 CIN. That's just significant. And shear is okay. It gets a little rough at around in between 6 and 9 kilometers up. Overall, I don't really like that sounding for northern Oklahoma right there. And once this low moves further east, because like I said, this could be an overnight event also. We can look at precipitation type real quick and see where the NAM indicates thunderstorms actually occurring. It doesn't really show, or yeah, it does. Sorry. Yeah, it shows mainly an overnight event. So we can go around. Let's take some soundings in front of the storms. This is 06Z, so kind of like early. This is a really early Wednesday morning. Let's take a sounding here in western Oklahoma. This is actually not a bad sounding. That shear is good. I mean, not perfect. We don't have really good lapse rates. Between around 3 and 6 kilometers up, you can see right there. They are pretty good. Surface lapse rates don't really look good. And we do have pretty thick cape though. So that's overall not a bad sounding. In the first part of the HODA graph is pretty enlarged. That sounding would support a 5% tornado risk for sure. So I think we could get a 5% maybe. Kind of in this area. Maybe southern Kansas right around that low.
Yeah.
Some of these sounding some pretty good shear. Winds veering of height, looking very, very organized. And the HODOs look a little bit bad, so that could limit maybe the 5%. Due to some decent instability also. All right, and got a 12Z. This is now kind of getting into Wednesday. But let's go to 9Z. You can take a sounding further to the south where we have our other slight. Overall, this is I'd say we're probably gonna stay as maybe a 2% in the southern slight. The southern slight doesn't look as good for tornado potential. That's what we see most of the time with these kind of storm systems. The southern part of it we don't see the best chance of tornadoes. We see that kind of really close. We see that right by the low, especially kind of right where we have that triple point. Is what I mostly look for. Sometimes.
Yep.
Now, this doesn't seem like a perfect triple point setup. It seems like we want to look right to the south and the east of the low. For maybe the best chance of a 5% risk being added from the SPC. So I'd say a 5% risk is definitely possible, maybe in northern Oklahoma, in southern Kansas, kind of in this area for
Also, just to add on to that,
Wednesday or Tuesday. Sorry.
I think a 5% risk is also possible across Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and like eastern portions of Arkansas or eastern portions of Texas and Oklahoma into Arkansas and Louisiana for that QLCS. I also think a 5% is possible for that.
For Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, you see, think about it. The reason I didn't say that was because it looks like that's gonna happen Wednesday for that area.
Oh, it is. Oh, so it's gonna be like out of the.
If the storm system trends slower, then that could change. It's been kind of doing that for a while, but it looks like it's sort of slowing down with the trending a little bit. But this sounding is in front of that line. Not bad though. This would support probably maybe 2, maybe a low end 5%. Overall, not a perfect sounding. Let's go to Wednesday afternoon. Though. Wednesday afternoon and night is when it's going to get very interesting across Dixie. Let's go to Dixie for Wednesday afternoon. And see, this is 00Z. This is 8 p.m. That's Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central. Go to northern Mississippi. This is overall a decent sounding. 63-degree dew point. Winds veering of height. Mostly a little bit of some backing, a little bit of backing, and HODA looks okay. Not the best sounding overall. I'll take a sounding further into Tennessee. Sorry. That shear though is pretty good. All right, sorry. Wait, yeah, that shear is pretty good. 62-degree dew point, so pretty moist. And instability. We don't have a lot of surface instability. We have a decent amount of ML. So, our sounding's not perfect. We go to 03Z. Take a sounding in western Alabama. This is a decent sounding. We have pretty decent shear. Winds veering of height most of the way up. An enlarged first part of the HODO. That's what I like to see. Moist sounding for sure. And overall, this is not a bad song. It's just the best one. This is the best one I've gotten on this record or on this video. It's a lot better than the other soundings we just took. And take one maybe further to the north and the Tennessee. This one has a little bit. That shear though, it looks like we might have some type of boundary going on at around maybe 3 kilometers up. You have something going on up there that's gonna potentially limit severe weather if the NAM happens. If the NAM scenario happens exactly like it's showing, that could limit severe weather maybe in Tennessee, or not severe weather, but more like the tornado potential. But that's probably, if that trend continues, it will be something to watch. If that's still there in tomorrow's video, but nothing to really look at right now. Now this is a good sounding. I forgot. I think this was in Alabama. You can see we have winds veering of height the whole way up. 65-degree dew point, pretty enlarged HODA, and Cape is manageable. Shear is also pretty good, so that's not a bad sounding. I would support maybe a 5-10% risk. Going to northwestern Georgia ahead of this line. This is a different scenario. We have decent shear. The problem is that we have. This is a classic sign of the wedge, actually, or cold air damming. Cold air inversion right at the surface with warmer temperatures and more moist air right above that. Now that's gonna limit activity in that area if that does happen, which the NAM has been kind of overdoing the wedge. We'll have to see if the HRRR differs from that in tomorrow's video. Let's take one in eastern Alabama, east central Alabama, that area. Not bad. That shear's better. It is kind of nighttime though. We're losing some of that instability, but we have some shear, so this could be about a 5%, maybe 10%. This is overall not a bad sounding. Problem is some of the thermodynamics. Now during the day Thursday, it looks a little more interesting, especially maybe in South Carolina, maybe Georgia also. This is a sounding in South Carolina. Shear, pretty bad. We have winds backing for a pretty large area right here. Or at least backing a very slight bit. We do have moist air once again. A little bit of capping. Not bad, though. And we don't have a whole lot of instability. But there's not a lot of capping to really have to break through, so that instability that instability is manageable for this. For sure. But overall, this event looks like a lot of people are just starting to go moderate for Wednesday, and kind of generally this area right here, which I don't really. I'm very I don't like to pull the trigger easily on going moderate risk or not going moderate. It's a pretty big deal to go moderate, especially on day 3. I'm not going moderate until day 2. Just because there is some limiting factors with this. Not a whole lot of limiting factors. This event looks really good, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go moderate. Maybe from the SPC. In fact, I think the SPC has probably a pretty good chance of going moderate with this. Is Andrew there? I think you.
I'm here, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
he is here.
personally went moderate already, pulled the trigger, because I'm a bit more aggressive than Tyler is.
I agree with your decision.
Yeah,
I can see.
we both agree with each other's decisions. Tyler's more conservative forecaster. I'm more aggressive, and that's okay. We have different forecasting styles. Sometimes your forecasts don't work out. Other times they do. It just really depends on the risk and stuff.
Yeah. So Wednesday looks like the big day. That's why Andrew went moderate, and I've been thinking about it. And Thursday looks like another potentially significant day with maybe a slighter and an enhanced risk. I don't
it's
think.
Already slight, so
Yeah, it's already slight. I don't think it's gonna go moderate. So yeah, that's the severe weather for now. Let's talk about our next storm system and when we could have more severe weather after this. So you can see this storm system moves out, brings actually a quick round of snow to the northeast around Friday and maybe late Thursday night. Very cold air across the northeast. We have a high in Canada. That's helping to bring down our extreme cold air, or not extreme, but cold air for the Northeast. And we have that rain switching over to snow as the low moves further to the east. And throughout the night, it slowly switches over for areas like Albany, New York, maybe Hartford, Connecticut, getting close to the rain snow line at around 12Z, which is around 8 a.m. And areas like Boston getting snow Friday morning. This is March 19th. This Friday. So maybe a quick round of snow for the Northeast of a few inches of snow possible. With once that storm system moves into the Northeast, now this could be our next severe weather maker. We will have to see. Maybe another severe weather day in the plains. Early next week, we're gonna watch that. Take some soundings in front of us. This is far out. This is a week out. Overall, these aren't very good. These aren't very good soundings. But maybe some kind of event in the plains. We'll have to see as we get closer to this. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the European and go out to Friday and see how the European is different from the GFS. So it seems like the European has a little bit less moisture coming into the Northeast with this low. So what that means is we're going to have a little bit less of a chance of snow. Looks like the European indicates a dry pocket right here, with some snow in maybe southern PA, almost northern Virginia, and then a decent amount of maybe even some heavy snow for areas like Boston. So pretty interesting. We could have a quick round of snow for the Northeast later this week, with maybe even a few inches of snow possible for areas like, not really Philadelphia, I'd say Boston, maybe Hartford, and Albany, New York. So that's what we're going to be looking at for our next really winter storm for the Northeast. And not really a significant winter storm, just a quick little burst of some snow of a few inches for the Northeast later this week. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching. And I will leave a link to Andrew's channel in the description. Go check it out. He does great forecasting videos. And yes, I hope you guys have a good rest of your Monday.